One of the biggest surprises in the September Nintendo Direct was that Xenoblade Chronicles would be coming to Nintendo Switch. And not just any version, but the definitive edition, which means an upgrade in graphics as well. So we can count this one as a remaster. And we have already seen many games coming to Switch from the Wii U, with all the deluxe versions, which is a pretty logical choice as not many people have owned a Wii U compared to the Switch. Only now we are slowly running out of game support from the Wii U itself, as the biggest titles have already been brought over in some shape or form. Of course, there are a couple of more that could be ported, but there are also ones that wouldn't be really necessary, like Mario Maker, as Mario Maker 2 is a bigger and better version of that game. So why not keep the Xenoblade trend going and remaster some more Wii games? These titles are much older and often very well deserving of an upgraded version. So today I would like to show you 5 Wii games that should get a remaster on Nintendo Switch. This is just my opinion, of course, so if you have a game in mind that I don't mention in this video, then let me know in the comments. Alright, let's start off with number 5. Let's get this big one immediately out of the way. Super Mario Galaxy. And although I'm personally a bigger fan of Super Mario Galaxy 2, I think the original would be a good starting point. And then maybe a remaster for the second one later on. The game needs little explanation and reason why it should be remastered for Nintendo Switch. It was by far one of the most popular Wii games, loved by young and old, which is very present in sales and reviews. With Mario Galaxy they kept the 3D platform formula, only this time around gravity would be a huge aspect of the game. While traveling to different planets you would collect stars, as Mario often does. Because of the intergalactic travel, many worlds were out there for you to explore, all with a different setting and look. The series also gave us an introduction to Rosalina, a very prominent character in multiple games these days, like Super Smash and Mario Kart. I often also see people making a case for a third game in the series. And even though I would love that as well, I think they would go for a Super Mario Odyssey sequel first, seeing how well that game performed on Switch. Same as they did with the Galaxy series. But in the meantime, I would love to go back on this cosmic adventure with our favorite mustached hero. And I think a lot of people would like that as well. I'm a big fan of rhythm games, and one of the best series to do so is the Rhythm Heaven series. So that's why I want Rhythm Heaven Fever to be remastered for Nintendo Switch. A new game would also be great, but if they don't do that, they can always just port this game. The funny part is that you would expect that they used motion control for a rhythm game on the Wii, but they didn't. And that's why I believe it's pretty manageable to port this game. In Rhythm Heaven Fever you can play over 50 minigames where you have to tap one or multiple buttons to perform several tasks on the beat of the music. Like hitting a golf ball, putting robots together, or testing out a seesaw. The game stands out because of its catchy music and silly characters. Try this game out and you will instantly fall in love. It's just a fun little silly game. Nothing major or groundbreaking, but so much fun nonetheless. This game especially sold well in Japan, so it would be nice for some more people in the West to try it out as well. So if you have a quick finger or a good sense of rhythm, then this is the game for you. Let's just hope that we can try it out soon. Another big game that's a no-brainer for a potential remake. Skyward Sword. The next in line for the home console Zelda games to get a remake. We of course got our Twilight Princess and Wind Waker remake for the Wii U, so now would be the perfect time for Skyward Sword. And don't get me wrong, I would love it for those two games to get also ported to the Switch eventually. But I think that this Wii game should be next in line. It still baffles me that series producer Eiji Aonuma even teased the game in some way. But there never was really any follow-up to that. During a live concert of Zelda music in Osaka, Aonuma took to the stage to answer some questions in November of 2018. A presenter of the performance asked Aonuma, "I'd like to ask about secrets behind Breath of the Wild." Well, he answered, "Are you sure you don't want to ask about a Switch version of Skyward Sword?" Which would be a weird thing to say if nothing was actually in the works. But Nintendo later denied these claims by stating that nothing was being developed at the moment. This was also before we knew about Link's Awakening's remake, so there is probably no game in development. Yet. The difficult part is that this game heavily relies on motion control, so the Joy-Cons have to be an integral part of the game. I guess it would be difficult to implement that whole system to a new controller, but who knows, it might be even more responsive than before. This game takes place at the absolute beginning of the Legend of Zelda timeline. And I think it would be a great way to introduce more people to this origin story on Switch. I know that we are already getting spoiled with a lot of Zelda in recent times with Cadence of Hyrule, Link's Awakening, and the upcoming Breath of the Wild sequel, but I think there is a place left in the Switch's lifetime for Skyward Sword. We just have to believe. I have spoken before about my love for the Wario Land series, with part 3 for the Game Boy Color being the highlight of them all. So I was happy when Wario Land got to return on the Wii with Wario Land Shake It. After all these years, our big yellow hero got his own adventure once again. And because of a lack of Wario games on Switch these days, a port of this game would be a perfect solution while we're waiting for a new entry. While the game did not receive the success of other games like Mario Galaxy and Skyward Sword, it was still a well-received game by many, with scores mostly landing on a 7 or an 8. The game was praised for its graphics and fun gameplay, but what people didn't like so much was an aspect that can be found in the title. Shake it! Because you have to shake it. A lot. Which makes it kind of gimmicky and not that much fun, as the shaking it up and down can get tiresome if you have to do it that often. But overall, it was still a great game. And well, if you want those sweet treasures, it's important to shake it so you can get everything out of the money bag. What makes this game mostly special is all the hand-drawn animations. And I say animations, but by that I mean everything, from the characters to the backgrounds, which gives the game an extra special vibe. It might be a mixed bag for some, but I believe the game really deserves a second chance on Switch. That this game hasn't appeared on Switch yet is just flabbergasting to me. It would make so much sense to remaster this game in anticipation for the next installment, the Metroid Prime Trilogy, containing the games Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, and Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. We all know of course that Retro Studio currently is hard at work on Metroid Prime 4. It was supposed to be developed by Bandai Namco, but after results weren't up to quality to Nintendo's wishes, they decided to transfer the project to the creators of the original, Retro. Doing so halted development as they had to begin all the way from scratch, so everything that was made or achieved before had to go in the bin. Fans predicted that a Prime Trilogy would be released for Switch and build up to the game's release. But now, especially since we have to wait even longer for 4, it would be a perfect time to remaster these amazing games to quench the Metroid Prime thirst. Especially the original Metroid Prime is considered as one of the top video games of all time, winning multiple game awards, being one of the best-selling GameCube games, and being the highest rated game in 2002 by fans and critics. In this game you play as Samus Aran, and the game doesn't contain the classic 2D side-scrolling mechanics, but instead is built as a full first-person shooter, with a lot of exploration elements and exciting action. I think it would be a perfect way to introduce a new audience to the series while getting people excited for part 4. So that's what I think that we should see. But one thing is more important than that. Your opinion. Do you agree with my list, or are there other games for the Wii that you would love to see remastered on Switch? Let me know in the comments, as I'm really curious on what those will be. And if you are a Nintendo fan and you are craving for more content, then be sure to subscribe to the channel to discover even more exciting lists of Nintendo games. Thank you very much.